A 19-year-old Army culinary specialist uses a 36-inch steel paddle to aggressively scrape the bottom of a 50-gallon vat of boiling chili mac. He is standing under a canvas tent in the middle of a tactical training area, operating a JP-8-fueled modern burner unit that roars like a jet engine. The ambient temperature is 90 degrees, but directly over the burner, the heat pushes 140. He is cooking from B Rations, tearing open massive olive drab tin cans of dehydrated ground beef, powdered tomato paste, and hardened pasta. He is not just cooking lunch. He is manufacturing human endurance. To feed a single infantry battalion operating in the field, this kitchen must output roughly 4,200 calories per soldier per day. That is the exact mathematical baseline required to keep the human body from cannibalizing its own muscle tissue during high-intensity tactical maneuvers. Today, we are breaking down the brutal reality of military field nutrition. We will strip away the myths of the combat diet and look at the actual physics, chemistry, and logistics of what soldiers eat during intense training and active deployments. We will compare the famous meal, ready to eat, against the massive, synchronized effort of a hot field kitchen. We will dissect the chemical engineering of a 3-year shelf life, the bulk preparation of B rations, the absolute caloric mathematics of human exertion, and the uncompromising protocol of water sanitation that keeps an army from destroying itself from the inside out. To understand military food, you must first understand the biological engine of the infantryman. A soldier on a forced march carrying 70 pounds of body armor, weapons, ammunition, and water is not a normal human being. They are a highly stressed machine burning energy at a catastrophic rate. When a platoon executes a 12-mile tactical ruck march over rough terrain, the soldiers rapidly deplete their muscular glycogen stores. Their core temperatures rise, they sweat out critical electrolytes, and their bodies enter a severe caloric deficit. If you feed that soldier a standard civilian diet of 2,000 calories a day, their physical performance will crash within 48 hours. Their cognitive function will narrow, their reaction time will slow, and their muscles will begin to break down to provide the missing energy. To prevent this, the military menu planners at the Quartermaster Corps engineered a strict requirement. A soldier engaged in active field operations requires an average of 4,200 calories every 24 hours. This is not arbitrary. It is a calculated matrix of carbohydrates for immediate energy spikes, complex proteins for muscle repair, and dense fats for sustained endurance. The military has developed over 50 specific recipes to meet this demand, ensuring the fuel matches the output. But delivering those 4,200 calories in a combat zone or a remote training area is a logistical nightmare. When supply lines are stretched, or when a unit is highly mobile and cannot wait for a hot meal, the military relies on its ultimate backup system, the MRE, or meal ready to eat. An MRE is not just food, it is a masterpiece of materials science and chemical engineering. The core requirement of an MRE is absolute survivability. It must be dropped from a cargo plane on a pallet, sit on a tarmac in the desert sun, and still be safe to consume years later. To achieve this, the food is sealed inside a trilaminate pouch. This packaging consists of a layer of polyester for strength, a layer of aluminum foil to completely block light, moisture, and oxygen, and a layer of polypropylene to seal it all together. Inside that pouch sits roughly 1,200 calories of highly processed, shelf-stable nutrition. The military engineered the MRE to have a shelf life of 3 years when stored at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. But it can survive temperatures plunging well below freezing, and it can withstand the blistering heat of 130 degrees in the trunk of a Humvee. The true mechanical genius of the MRE is how it is cooked. Soldiers in the field do not have the time or the tactical clearance to build a fire. Instead, every MRE comes with a flameless ration heater. This is a green plastic sleeve containing a small pad of magnesium powder, alloyed with a small amount of iron and salt. When a soldier pours exactly 1 ounce of water into the sleeve, it triggers an immediate, violent exothermic reaction. The water oxidizes the magnesium, releasing massive amounts of heat. Within seconds, the water inside the sleeve begins to boil, creating steam that heats the sealed food pouch to 100 degrees in about 10 minutes. The byproduct of this chemical reaction is hydrogen gas, which vents out of the top of the sleeve with a distinct chemical smell that every infantryman recognizes instantly. Despite the brilliant engineering, the human reality of the MRE is grueling. The food is dense, heavily preserved, and notoriously lacking in dietary fiber. During extended deployments such as the Gulf War, soldiers jokingly categorized the MREs into the 4 basic food groups of the desert: beef stew, chili mac, chicken a la king, and dry crackers. When you eat highly processed, vacuum-sealed stew out of a brown plastic bag for 21 days straight, psychological fatigue sets in. The menu becomes monotonous. A complex bartering economy develops within the platoons, where high-value items like jalapeno cheese spread, pound cake, or a tiny bottle of hot sauce become vital currency traded for guard duty shifts or better sleeping spots. The MRE keeps the biological engine running, but it degrades human morale. This is why the Quartermaster Corps relies on the hot field kitchen as the primary instrument of sustenance. When a unit establishes a forward operating base or halts for a prolonged training exercise, the culinary specialists deploy the mobile kitchen trailer or the containerized kitchen. But in a hostile environment, they rarely have access to a rations, which is the military term for fresh meat, dairy, and vegetables. Fresh food rots. Instead, the cooks rely on B rations. B rations are semi-prepared, bulk ingredients shipped in massive cans, dehydrated crates, and vacuum-sealed boxes. They do not require refrigeration. The culinary specialist's job is to take these highly preserved, unappetizing raw materials and execute a chemical and physical transformation. Cooking B rations is a massive exercise in rehydration and temperature control. A cook will take a 10-pound tin of dehydrated egg mix, combine it with precisely measured gallons of treated water, and aggressively whisk it over a JP8 burner to simulate freshly scrambled eggs. They take bricks of dehydrated beef, soak them in boiling water until they reconstitute, and mix them with powdered tomato paste and heavily salted spice packets to create a recognizable meatloaf or spaghetti sauce. The physical toll on the cooks is immense. They are managing 50-gallon vats of boiling liquid. They are lifting 100-pound insulated food containers. They are doing this in the suffocating heat of a canvas tent, breathing in the exhaust fumes of the diesel burners. But the result of their labor is a hot meal. A hot meal served on a rigid plastic tray represents a temporary pause in the violence and misery of a deployment. It is a psychological reset. Commanders know that rotating exhausted troops through a hot mess line fundamentally restores unit discipline and cognitive focus, far better than handing them another plastic pouch of beef stew. However, neither the MRE nor the hot B ration can exist without the most critical, highly contested resource on the battlefield: water. Water is the lifeblood of the logistical chain. Without it, you cannot rehydrate the B rations, you cannot activate the flameless ration heaters, and the soldiers simply die of dehydration. Water is hauled to the field kitchens in massive 400-gallon M149 trailers, universally known as water buffaloes. But the actual cooking only consumes a fraction of that water. The true, massive consumer of water in a field kitchen is sanitation. Foodborne illness is the invisible enemy that can paralyze a fighting force overnight. A single outbreak of dysentery, norovirus, or salmonella will rip through a tightly packed infantry battalion, rendering hundreds of soldiers completely combat ineffective. To prevent this, the military enforces a draconian, non-negotiable protocol known as the 3-sink method. Every field kitchen sets up a massive sanitation line consisting of 3 deep, galvanized steel sinks. The water in these sinks is heated by dedicated immersion heaters fueled by diesel. The process is rigid: wash, rinse, sanitize, air dry. The first sink contains heavily soapy water heated to exactly 110 to 120 degrees. The second sink is a clear water rinse heated to 140 degrees. The third and final sink is the sanitizing dip. This water must either be kept at a rolling boil above 170 degrees, or it must be heavily treated with concentrated chlorine. Every single steel pot, heavy ladle, serving tray, and stirring paddle must go through this physical gauntlet. The cooks carry digital thermometers and chemical chlorine test strips in their chest pockets right next to their pens. They test the water constantly. If the temperature drops, or if the chlorine parts per million fall below the lethal threshold for bacteria, the entire sanitation line halts until the levels are corrected. The cooks pulling kitchen duty plunge their heavy rubber gloves into the scalding water, scrubbing the hardened grease and dehydrated food remnants off the gear. The steam rising from the sink smells sharply of bleach and diesel exhaust. It is exhausting, repetitive, deeply unglamorous labor. But it is the impenetrable shield that protects the combat readiness of the entire division. The contrast between the two systems of feeding an army is profound. The meal, ready to eat, is an individual survival mechanism. It is pure, sterile efficiency designed to keep a soldier breathing and pulling a trigger when isolated in the dirt. But the field kitchen, operating on B rations, roaring diesel burners, and thousands of gallons of boiling water, is an industrial operation. It is the manifestation of an army's logistical supreme power. It proves that the military can move into the most hostile, barren environments on Earth, establish a perimeter, and systematically produce hot meatloaf, scrambled eggs, and coffee for 1,000 armed men without a single sanitized pot falling out of line. This is the hidden mechanics of endurance. Behind every successful tactical maneuver, behind every artillery barrage, and behind every 12-mile ruck march, there is a culinary specialist staring at a thermometer, scraping the bottom of a steel vat, making sure the biological engine never runs out of fuel. If this deep dive into the brutal engineering, chemistry, and logistics of military food changed your perspective on how an army operates, let me know in the comments below. Could you survive for a month eating nothing but chili mac out of a plastic pouch? Or endure a 14-hour shift scrubbing steel pots in boiling chlorine water? Hit the like button to help push this documentary into the algorithm, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for more uncensored, highly detailed looks into the machinery of war. The supply lines are moving, the burners are lit, and there are many more processes to analyze. Until next time, stay sharp and keep your eyes on the horizon.